Okay. Good evening. I
Hello.
want to introduce you guys to my friend. I'm Jen Phillips, and I want to introduce you to my new friend, Tom Knight. Tom, welcome. And how are you this evening?
I'm doing well, Jen. It's great to be here.
No,
Um,
fantastic,
I'm
fantastic.
here with some of my puppets too, which they'll come out in a little bit.
Oh, that's
So
awesome. That's
yeah,
really really cool. Now, Tom, I don't know you very well. We've been on friends on Facebook for a little while now, but can you tell us a little bit about you and your company and like how'd you get started?
yes. I'm a musician. I started off as a musician, actually. I write songs for kids, and then back in the '80s, actually, I met a puppeteer, and she wanted me to do music for her puppet show, so I started working with her, and I learned that. There's a lot there's a big audience for musical puppet shows, and there were a lot more people coming to see my show when I did shows for kids than when I was playing like my guitar in a cafe, for instance.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's like, oh, there's a big market here, and I was good at it, and I loved it. So kind of put all those things together, and that's kind of how that career started. And then over time, I worked with other puppeteers, and then finally, I became a solo artist and figured out how to do puppetry and music by myself. And so ever since 1995, I've been doing a solo puppet show, and here I am. Now I'm doing virtual shows.
Wow. Oh, that's so way cool.
Yeah.
That is so I'm trying to think when's the last time I saw a puppet show?
Well,
That's
I'm
so long.
sure there's a lot of puppets on TV. If you've ever Sesame Street and the Muppet Show, uh, that's kind of what we're used to in this country.
That's
Um,
true.
Yeah, and I've definitely been inspired by Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street and the Muppet, Jim Henson. Um, it's interesting if you're thinking about the history of puppetry in Europe. Puppetry is much more thought of as an adult entertainment, as theater. Theater, and with very sophisticated themes. In our country, we think of puppets as being for kids, kind of like silly, goofy things for kids, which actually I guess is what I do.
Fair, fair
But it,
enough. Fair
yes,
enough. Well, and I live in Vegas, and so
yeah,
we have a couple different entertainers that are puppet ventriloquist kind of things, and it's just been very cool because it is theirs is very much adult humor
right,
that they're that they're doing with those shows,
yes,
not for kids at all. So
yes,
it's kind of interesting too how even entertainment over the last couple decades has taken cartoons and turned them into making sure that there's some adult humor within them, even like
yes.
Shrek and some of these other things, making sure that the adult has just as much enjoyment out of the show as the kids do.
Well, I really try and do that as well. To make sure that the music that I do is sophisticated enough so that adults can appreciate it. Because if I do a CD and the kids are listening to it, the adults are listening to it too. They have to hear it in the car as well. So I want to make sure that you know what I'm talking about.
Fair enough.
So
I've got four kids. That's
there you go. Yeah.
Luke.
So
Yeah.
you've probably heard some songs that are for kids that make you want to throw up after a couple times. So I'm trying to create stuff that has enough depth to it that adults can really enjoy listening to it. And that's my biggest compliment often is that adults will tell me it's like I listen to your songs even when the kids aren't around. So
Oh, that's very cool. So this
yeah,
isn't just for kids, but it's
right.
for kids, but it's not just for kids. So
Right.
that's really good to know.
Yeah, and I try to make my live puppet shows or my virtual puppet shows have dimensions that adults can enjoy too. So I don't really talk down to kids, and I don't use like a high squeaky voice. Some of the puppets do, I suppose, but no, I want to make sure that it doesn't make anybody cringe.
We appreciate that, Tom.
Yes.
We really, really do. Um, Now, do you have kids of your own?
I do not.
Okay.
No. I just kind of turned out that I used to I worked with kids and worked in preschools, and it turns out that the material I do that kids enjoy. So
That's right.
originally I wasn't intending to write songs for kids, but kids liked what I did. So it's like, oh, I guess this is good for kids. Yeah, and I do parties in schools and libraries and preschools and things like that.
Oh, that's really very cool. You know what? I hadn't thought about that. We've actually got I work in a school by day, and then I have my business, by night. And we're always looking for great ideas. And so now
Oh,
I didn't even think about, hey, I know a guy.
oh,
And so I'll have to introduce you to some people with our school and see, because we're all distant still, and
yes.
what we can potentially do. That would be super way cool.
Well, that's been the challenge since we had the whole COVID lockdown and everything. Is like all my live shows got canceled. So um, then it's like, well, how do I do my show now? And the first thing I did was I created the Tom Knight Show, where I took parts of my show and kind of created like a Mr. Rogers kind of type show around my songs for YouTube. Um, and then more recently, I've also been doing live streams and just kind of learning the techniques of how to use the camera um, and what you can do with the camera that you can't do with a live show. For instance, like I'm going to introduce Allie here. Allie's been waiting to come on. Hi.
Well, how
And
you doing?
Allie, let me just adjust your tail here. What are you doing? Okay. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm not a ventriloquist. He's not a ventriloquist. Yeah. Um, I get that question sometimes, but no, I'm not a ventriloquist. But the thing is, you can do I can do things with cameras that I can have the puppets come right up close, so you can see things really in a lot of detail that you can't see in a large crowd. So just kind of learning to use the camera, use in a way that makes a good experience for people who are far away. And the other thing that I've been enjoying learning is that, Ellie, I think, do you have something to do? No, I want to watch this. Okay. I thought he was going to go do something else, but I guess he's going to stay here. Um, the great thing about virtual shows is I've been doing things with families who are spread out around the country, but they can all watch like one show together, and it kind of brings everybody connected in a way that I can't really do with a live show. Um, so
That's
somebody in
cool.
Florida and Pennsylvania and New York can all come to the same show and have an experience together over Zoom, which has been really fun. Yeah,
That's
we
really
like that.
cool. That's
Yeah.
very well. And I think a lot of times, people, we're in this COVID ness right now, and it's like we're still there. I'm in my folks' home right now. This is my mom's sewing room behind me. But and my brother's over in the kitchen. He stays here, I guess, because of his job and stuff. And my boys are with them right now, and my dad's here, and
Yeah.
and and that's nice because I get to be here. But I'm in Vegas normally. I'm in Ohio right now, but I'm normally in Vegas. But to have have an event where we can all be a partaker,
Yes.
so that's really kind of cool. And so if this was a Wednesday night, or no, it's Tuesday today, right? So if it's a Tuesday night and I want to do something with my family, and I'm at my house, my brother's with his
Yeah.
family, which is in Cleveland, and my parents are here in Toledo, we can't do anything normally. And now that we've got
Right.
Zoom, and now we meet some great entertainers, we can create opportunities for us to do things. That's really
Yes.
very cool.
Yeah, it's been really great to kind of figure out new ways to make connections and for because everybody where the orders have gone out that we're not supposed to travel, or just or try to limit your travel, but um so it's a bit of a hardship for people. So I'm finding that these puppet shows are a way for people to kind of be together and be connected and do something fun,
That is
even
really very
when they
cool.
can't be together in person, and maybe they would be if it was a different year. It
Right.
was
Yeah,
a
fair
yeah
enough.
yeah
Fair. One of the other things I heard you say, though, which I really, really like, and I hope that the families that are watching this really get a feel for this, because what I heard you talk about is that you love music, you love
yeah
entertaining, you've learned that maybe it's not the all adult market for you, and that you've moved into working with kids. So you still get to do what you love.
yeah
You've just changed your audience. And then
yes
through COVID, you still get to do what you love. You had to change the technology. You had to change the delivery system.
exactly
It didn't
yeah
scare you to do it. It might have a little bit, but it didn't keep you from doing it. And so you were still able to do that. And I've got 4 kids, and I'm thinking about my oldest son who's 20 and is like,
Hmm.
I don't know what I'm going to do. And when I'm like, dude, you're 20, you've got so much time, try things, figure it out. And to hear you talk, and it's like, okay, you've been doing puppet shows since 1995. So on your own, been doing it
Yeah.
longer, but on your own for 25 years. And you are not afraid to try something new to still provide value and service to people that can really appreciate
Yeah.
what you have to offer, and that you love, and that you love to do it. And so like, I think that's really something I'd really, for families that are watching us today, is like, if you are thinking about what can I do with my life, look at Tom. He's figured out what he wants to do, loves what he does, serves other people, and found a way to do it during COVID.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing better than that. And then
Yeah.
we get to be the benefactors, right? We get to
Right.
to share in your success. And how cool is that?
It's very cool. Yeah, and it's I mean, you're right. It's about using the technology, but it's the same thing as I've always done is singing songs and doing puppet shows.
Who's
And
this?
doing puppet shows. Yeah. I like puppet shows. My grandkids like puppet shows. She just wanted to come up out and say hi. But yeah, it's all about connection and finding ways to connect with the new technology. Um, and otherwise, it feels the same. I was
Yeah.
just noticing the other day. It's like I did a show here in my studio in my house, so the only difference was that after my show, I went out in the kitchen and talked to my girlfriend. It's like instead of like taking an hour to pack up all my stuff and get in my car and drive for an hour or two or whatever, I went out to the kitchen and had some tea. So,
How
so
nice.
that was kind of nice, actually. Yeah,
That's very cool. That's very
yeah.
cool.
And
Well,
I guess I'm fortunate. I'm more fortunate than some people because I'm also, besides a musician and a puppeteer, I'm also a videographer. So I have some lights and have some experience with the cameras and so on. So that's been helpful. So I had a lot of the gear already.
that's
Um,
very cool. That definitely does help. That definitely does. How many? Okay, so how many different puppet friends do you have?
oh, well, probably in any given show, I've probably got about 15 or 20 in a, yeah. But
Oh
some of them are,
wow.
yeah. So I've got, yeah, I've got, well, I've got a few hanging around here. This one you might recognize, um, not the character. I'm just pulling some together here. Here we go. See if you recognize
Oh, the
this.
hungry
There
caterpillar.
you go. That's right.
Very
So
cool.
yeah, I do some shows for libraries. So for so there are different books that are highlighted in that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but most of the things I do are original. Oh, hello. This is Henry. He has a lot of part in. He has a lot to do in the Tom Knight Show. Oh yes, the Tom Knight Show. That's one of my favorite parts. Yes, I like to introduce the show. I have my own episode. It's a magic trick. I'm a magician. I'm very good. Well, Henry, sometimes the trick doesn't go very well, right? Oh, well, I suppose that's true. Sometimes I forget the magic word, and sometimes the rabbit doesn't come out when I ask him to. But I'm a very good magician. Yes, I am. So, yes. Well, yes. So Henry's one of the few puppets that I feel like I know him well. Yes, we go way back. We go way back, don't we? Yes. Um, I think I could figure out how he would respond to most situations.
Oh.
Are you talking about me? Yes, I am. I am. Yeah. So there's. I could tell. I could tell. Henry, I'm going to say goodbye to you now. Oh, okay. Toodaloo, toodaloo. So yeah, I've got many different puppets. I have some. Oh, here's one. I do some folk tales like the Billy Goat's Gruff.
Okay.
So I've got one of the Billy Goats here. Um, and
Very nice.
yes, and of course he comes. Let's see, and the one that the one that the Billy Goat meets is
The troll.
the troll.
Yes. Yeah, you can't have Billy Goats without a troll. Fair
No,
enough.
you can't. They go together. They go together. So anyway, there's a lot of them that, and I made them all. By the way, I don't know if I I guess I
That-
didn't mention that. So I was
That's
checking
very
out
cool.
your sewing back there. It's like, oh, you've got some good thread, and it's all
Oh, she
organized
does. She does.
really well too. It's
Yeah,
like
she's got all kinds of stuff back
all my
here.
stuff is just thrown in a drawer. But yes, so I have lots of, mainly, as you can tell, I suppose they're mouth puppets or hand puppets, and then those rod puppets like the Billy Goat. So small, medium-sized puppets. You know.
That is very Tom, thank you so much for sharing with us what you do. But what I'd really like to do before we go is I'd like you to be able to tell our friends where can they find you? How do they get you? Like I want to have you for my kids' party, whatever. Like how do they get your help to
Yes,
serve their family and to share some experiences?
they can go to tomknight.com. You can read
Very
that, right? It's not
cool.
backwards. Okay.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. And I'll type it in the chat bar for you guys later so you guys can look at the comment.
Yeah, and it's also, you can also, Tom Knight Puppets on Facebook, and I'm doing live streams on there pretty regularly. But can I show you one more thing before we go?
Whatever
I
you
think.
like. Yes, you may.
All
Yes,
right.
you may.
All right. So I want to mention that a lot of the things I do are educational, and one of the things I do that's educational is I have this solar system hat.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I sing a song while I do this, and I see I need to adjust the camera a little bit, but you can
Oh my
see
gosh, how cool is
the
that?
planets go around my head.
Yeah.
So yes, I really wanted a solar system that turned when I designed this. So
Well, that is so way cool.
there we go. You're
I
kind
can,
of ducking down to see.
I know I am. I'm ducking down to see you. I know it's hilarious. Like I'm gonna be able to see if I do that. I know.
I can get a
That
little
is
closer.
so
I can
really
get a little
cool.
closer to the camera, I
You're gonna
think.
whack in something.
Let's see. Can I?
No. Well, maybe a little. I think what's so cool, and I hope that families are seeing this today and they're like, you know what? My kid likes to make stuff. And it's like, yeah, but you don't know what kind of cool stuff that was that an umbrella?
It is an umbrella, yes.
Oh my God. I mean, like thinking about it's like, okay, you take a broken umbrella that doesn't work anymore, and you can then do something cool like that.
That's right.
I
That's
just
right.
think so many times we end up throwing things away. I know I've got a bag full of socks I keep thinking to turn into puppets or something and take into school and having kids sew like buttons for eyes and stuff on them. But
Yeah.
it's like what we can do as human beings. We're only limited by our own personal imagination, and that the fact that
It's
you've
true.
made 15, 20 plus puppets, you've made them, you've given them an identity, you've given them a personality,
Yeah.
and then and so I mean this isn't going to sound right, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's almost like you're schizophrenic, and so like you've got all these different
Yeah.
personalities and you've
Yeah.
been able to share them with the world, and it's just so cool. And I think a lot of times we try to suppress that in our kids,
Right.
and it's like no, 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 what can we do to share and explore and expand? And I think that you've given us a brilliant way to do that.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah. And I just want to tag on there that what I'm doing is something that humans have been doing for, ever since there were humans. Just storytelling with, you know, dolls or puppets or whatever. I think yeah, as long as there've been humans, people have been doing it. So um, it's just creativity is part of being human. So
Sure.
um, I'm glad, I'm lucky enough to have to make my livelihood doing this,
Yes.
um, and be able to share my creativity and joy with all the people all around the world. So
And I think the beautiful part about that is that so many people get told that I'm an artist and I can't make my living doing what I love. And I think that you are showing everybody that it's possible. You just have to figure out how.
yeah,
And so like no excuses, just we figure it out. You do what you love, you figure it out, you love it, your audience loves it, and it just you end up making money and you can support yourself. It's like, you know what? Do what you love instead of sacrificing what you love for money, which I think happens a lot, especially in our country for sure. But happens a lot is okay, well, I need to go get a job. What am I gonna go do? Well, do you love that thing? If you don't, what could you do? Well, I love entertaining people. Great. How can we use that to bring joy to the world and fund your bank account? Like, and I
yeah,
think that's just beautiful that you've been able to do that. And I love that because I think a lot of times I just look at my own kids. I just look at my own kids. They're like, well, I want to be a video game designer. Well, do you really? Because it's a lot of work. Like if you do, let's get you into some coding classes or let's. And I think that if we can figure out what people love, get them in that direction, you've got music and art and all kinds of fun. Like I'm sure that it wasn't easy to sew your puppet when you first did your very first one. Like maybe you still use that one. I don't know. But like
Actually still, I think
you
I
still
do.
do.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little cockeyed, but, but it has a lot of personality. That's the thing about making something. It's like, if you make it yourself, it's like, it's going to have personality. It's not going to be something you buy on Amazon,
Right.
and that sometimes has a lot more life to it. And
I think that's so true. I think
yeah,
it's so true.
I mean, if you look at my puppets, if you look carefully, you can see all the threads and stuff. They're not perfect, but they I like them, and the kids like them. So
Well, and they create a beautiful experience.
yes,
It's about not, and I think that that's another beautiful thing that what you do, Tom, is that it doesn't have to be perfect to be
right,
something wonderful.
yes,
And I think a
absolutely,
lot of times we're like, I've got a stain on my shirt. I can't wear it. It's like, no, like get over yourself. It's
right.
more than just that. And what can we do? And I just thank you so much. I mean, we got 2 days, 3 days left till Christmas. And, I'm sure people are looking for what can they do? You know what? Come check out Tom. Come check out his puppet page. We're going to put that up on the
Yeah.
Facebook so you guys
I
can
am
see.
doing a little special for the holidays. If
Oh,
somebody wanted to hire me for a Zoom puppet show, 40-minute Zoom puppet show for your family or for a party, yeah, I have a special for $99 actually.
very
So
cool. Very
that's on my
cool.
website. Yeah,
Very cool. We'll put a link to that into our little comment things too, so everybody can get a
great.
hold of that. And Tom, thank you so much for sharing what you do to bring joy to children. I really appreciate it. I think our families will really, really, really appreciate it too.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity, Jen. It's been great talking with you and sharing my puppets. So
Well, thank you so much. Have a wonderful night and a Merry Christmas.
you too.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye bye.